Introduction to Web Programming, Bootstrap. So let's not reinvent the wheel, but let's use a responsive front-end framework called Bootstrap. It's a CSS grid system, so it's providing us responsive layout with a different kind of columns and rows, meaning grid. So it also provides us user interface components like buttons, icons, navbars, and things like that. So you are getting out of the box all the necessary CSS styles you need to use in your web page. And this is not restricted to desktop use only, but this is a mobile first thing that you get all the things to mobile layout and then also to the desktop use. So there can be drag out menus and the navbar can transform to hamburger icon when you are using it in mobile view. Then there are JavaScript media options, and in a nutshell it shortens your development time of CSS and you get all the responsive features made by expert graphic designers and layout designers. GetBootstrap.com provides you the library. So using Bootstrap, it is very easy. You just need to load the CSS and JavaScript libraries. And it's done by linking this CSS file and this JavaScript file to your web page. Of course, you can download those files and use them in locally, and you can use like a npm when you are building a project to get those libraries for you when you are developing front-end and back-end with Node.js, for example, and React. This grid system, so basically all the content that is inside container classes can be divided into 12 different columns. So you can have a development, for example, that is taking 2 out of those 12 columns, or 8, or 7, or 6, or 1. If the width of the element is only 1, then you can have 12 of those in one row. And you can build these kind of different elements there. And it is very easy to get those columns. You just have to have some kind of a container where you use the class container, and then you have a row, and inside this row you have these different columns, and you are defining them like a col1, meaning that it's taking only 1/12 of the maximum width, and col3 is taking 3/12, meaning 25% of the maximum width. So this is quite straightforward. So responsive layouts and grid system. So Bootstrap has different layout block classes for different screen sizes. So it uses 6 different sizes. You have extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, and extra large. And if you want to have a, let's say, a column that is taking 12 units in small screen size and 3 units in large screen sizes, then you use these prefixes col MDM, col LG, etc. and then give the number that you want that element to take. And of course in every view here we have the 12 columns, and the actual container max width is a little bit smaller than the media query telling the screen size. So there are paddings, margins in left and right, so they are not taking the whole screens. In this extra small, you're just having some auto margins. And Bootstrap is giving a good documentation about this grid layout, and then you are getting this responsive content that is in phone, basically one element in top of each other. In tablet you can have some elements next to each other, but then in Full HD screen or 4K screen you have elements next to each other. So here the orange elements are in the same row, whereas in the phone they would be in top of each other. How do you do this? So for example, this one orange block here. It is inside the row, that is inside the container, and then you define that it uses classes call, meaning column, call 12, and call md6 and call lg3. It means that it's in the smallest screen sizes the width is 12. On the medium screen sizes like this tablet, it's taking 6 units, and in the large screens and extra large and extra large, it's taking these 3 units. So if you are not defining these extra large definitions and use those prefixes, then it's using the large in there. So in the phone it's taking all the space. In the tablet mode, medium mode, it's taking half of the space, so 6 out of 12 units. And in the larger screen it's taking 25%, meaning that it's taking 3 out of the 12 units, so 1/4, 25%. This is the key idea of this kind of a grid system provided by Bootstrap and Materialize, and even the basic plain CSS can let you build this kind of a system. Let's have an example on this. Okay, here we have just a short demonstration on how to use Bootstrap. So I have just a simple HTML page. I don't even have any CSS here or JavaScript, just a simple HTML. And what we would like to have some kind of a content here. So let's have some tags here. Just that we would have something in our page. We have a header. Then in the header we have navigation. And inside the navigation we have the actual company name or the organization name we are having here. Let's say this is a web page for some organization. Like this. And then we would have some kind of a link menu here. Let's add just divs here, and inside these divs we have just links. So link 1, and let's have this menu item 1, menu item 2 and 3 and 4, like this. And then this would be our navigation. Let's see. Yes. And besides this header we have the main. And inside main we have a section. But besides section we have also a side. We have something there, and then in the end we have also footer, like this. Now let's just copy paste some lorem ipsum here, so we wouldn't have just empty text but just something to read on. And let's shorten this a bit, and we can actually take this one out of there and put it here on the side element. And then in the footer, let's have here in the footer just a div, and inside the div we have another div, and inside that we might have once again another div, and let's have few of these divs here, so we can have some text parts here, like a copyleft by not me. And then in the footer we would have something like, here is a link, and let's take this sentence out of there and put it here. So now we have content in our page, but yes, it looks very ugly. What would we do? We could build some CSS by ourselves, or we could use the Bootstrap, which is basically a CSS library, helping us to develop web pages that look nice and are accessibility and usability is good. And it has also some JavaScript parts, but they are just basically to help with these CSS items. So let's add these parts here. We can just use the CDN system that will provide us the newest version of the library right now. And now we are just linking those files, so we are getting a style sheet and we are getting some JavaScript. Then let's go to documentation. Here you can read everything, how to work with Bootstrap. There are interesting and important part. For example, these breakpoints and containers. These are important. And then we can do some grid in our web page. So now it looks kind of ugly. Let's first try to get this section and this aside to be that we have the section in the left part and the side in the right part. So we will need some kind of a columns there. And what kind of a columns we would like? Maybe something like this, that we have a wider column and then not that wide column. So there is a container class. So let's take this container class and can we zoom this a bit? So this container class, and let's add it here to the main part. Actually, we are not adding it to the main part, but here in the div. So this div is the container. And then in the main part here is a class called row. So let's use that. So now in this row we have elements. Okay, now we refresh, just adding two classes. We have the different fonts here. We have different margins and paddings, etc. So let's continue. Then there is this column. So let's add this class col to this our section element and also this side element. Now we have two columns here, left and right. They are taking 50% each. But as this grid system uses 12 columns, so this is like taking 6 columns and this is like taking 6 columns. But we can change that by adding a number here. So how many columns this is taking. So, and then we are getting to this thing that we would like to have this column count as 2 when we have a large screen, just like in this desktop computer. But then if we have just mobile phone screen, then this column would take all the space. So thus we can use these prefixes LG like large and MD like medium. And if we don't have any prefix, then we are using it in the very small screen. So in the very small screen, these are taking 12 units. And now if we are not defining anything else, these are taking 12 units, which is the maximum. So now we are back to the square one. But in the large screen, we would like to have these so that this would take 8 out of 12 rows, columns, and this would take 4. What is left? The 4. And now if we refresh this is not working. So it's not working because my screen is not big enough. Let's zoom out. Now we got enough to this screen. And now this is in the right part and this is in the left part. And if we are using mobile phone, then they are bottom and top. Yeah, that looks nice. Then we can have, for example, this our menu. Let's check. Here are the components list. So in the components part, there are plenty of different things. For example, this nav bar. And let's get some nice example. So we would like to have this kind of a nav bar that has a links and the actual brand icon or title. So we are using a nav bar. Let's take all of these classes. Let's actually take all the thing and copy paste it here in the nav. And then this navbar brand we can take and copy paste it this to this A. Let's see what we are getting right now. So now we have a navbar. Now the links are aligned here nicely. And then in every link, do we have a better example here? Yeah, maybe we can go with this one. So let's take classes like collapse, navbar collapse, and get these to the div here. Okay, now we don't have the button here, but we'll just use something we have here, and this could be navbar. And then in the each item, let's use this class link. So nav link is providing us the link styles. And let's see what we got here. Nothing. And the reason is again that we are having this mobile width here, so everything is going away, so we need to have this button. Let's add the button here. And now we got the button, which is not working. Now we add the ID here, and now it's working. So Bootstrap is providing us this kind of a straight navigation that we can use that in the desktop view we have all the menu items here in the row, but then if we are using a mobile view we got the hamburger menu, which is providing us the links, which is very nice. You don't have to code these from the scratch, but you can use these features provided by Bootstrap. And then let's check this footer of ours. So we could use here some classes Bootstrap is providing us. Let's say we want to change the background color. So we can take a background color secondary like this. Now we are not using the white color, or we could take a primary. Then we have a blue background, and these are of course customizable if you wish. And now let's modify this class, this div. So this class, this would have a class called container. So we are putting all these things inside the container. And then this would be our row, like this. And now every element here could be our column. So what kind of a column we would like to have? Something that is full width in a mobile, and then in the larger devices we are having these 3 columns next to each other. So let's copy paste this to all of these divs and let's refresh. Now they are side by side, and if we are moving to mobile view, then they are in top of each other. So this is the very simple way how to have a Bootstrap layout. And I have the Bootstrap, use the Bootstrap for example on my home pages. This uses Bootstrap, and there is a menu working out of the box with Bootstrap, and if you are using this desktop mode, then you can just use the links. Everything here is just a Bootstrap element, etc. Very useful framework. And there is a lot of documentation, and the documentation is very good. So you can build, for example, these kind of accordions. If you wish to have these kind of elements on your web page, take them out of the box with Bootstrap. You just used the correct class, accordion and accordion item, accordion header, etc. And then you have these kind of elements in your web page. Very nice. So this was the demonstration, and you can use this as you wish. So then there are these components. Bootstrap lets you use predefined patches buttons, breadcrumbs, cards, collection, footers, forms, icons, navbars, and much more as they are in the Bootstrap documentation. And the easy thing here is that you need to use just the corresponding CSS class. In most basic cases, only one class is enough, but then if you want to build some carousel, for example, or navigation, then you need different HTML elements inside the HTML elements and different classes to all of these elements, but the documentation help you a lot on this. And you can build, for example, a menu with hamburger icon in the mobile view, and then the menu links in the desktop view as was shown. And you can read more about these components in the documentation. So, in a conclusion, there is definitely no reason to reinvent the wheel. So you can just use Bootstrap or Materialize to build basic responsive layout for your web application. Then do some customization for example, colors and some styles and icons, what you or your customer wants. So if you're building a web page to your customer, then it probably needs to reflect the color space of the customer, and there needs to be customer logos and things like that. And after that, it's just profit.